Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Jordan Kitchens.
Jordan, 20-footer, head of the key, good!
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Tigers get swept over the weekend at Ole Miss. They hit the halfway point at 6-9 in league play. Long way to go, but a lot of work to do. David Dellucci, SEC Network, joins us. Luch, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Okay, the optimist in me says at this point, 2 years ago, LSU was 3-12, and they managed to find a way to the postseason. The realist in me goes, yeah, this team's not very good. So where do you fall?
I still have optimism for this team. We mentioned last year Florida was 1-11. They ended up making it all the way to the regionals. I think LSU has enough talent to be able to find themselves in a regional. They are running out of time. The good news for them is currently 6 SEC teams that have been ranked during the course of the year have sub-500 records, so they're not alone. A lot of other teams in the boat. What LSU absolutely has to do is they can't be bad in all 3 phases of the game at one time. If your pitching's not going to throw strikes, your offense needs to carry the load, your defense needs to step up. So, unfortunately, right now they just are not doing the basic things in the game that help you win the ball games. And when I look around, LSU's 14th in ERA in the SEC. They also have 51 wild pitches and 52 hits batters. So when you have stats like that, you're giving the other team opportunities to score runs, and ultimately you can turn back the clock and look at how many games you basically gave away because you just didn't play fundamental baseball.
Yeah, they've already committed more errors this year than they did all of last year, and they just don't throw enough strikes. Can you fix that, Luch? Can you find a way in the second half to be better defensively and to throw more strikes?
I mean, look, LSU won the national championship with a team that early on, was it last year or in 2023, where Jay Johnson said, we're going to solely focus on catching the ball in the infield. And it turned around. These guys are uber talented, man. They're super athletes. They can do all of this. The rosters, I keep defending them because after the portal, we all thought they had one of the deepest pitching rotations and deeper than what they had last year. And they're just not able to step up and compete right now. And, I mean, who would ever thought LSU in Game 2 was going to throw 7 pitchers and then Game 3, 5 pitchers? It's just nothing's coming together. And sometimes when you dig a big hole, it's harder to get out of it. You don't see daylight anymore. And they need a game where they can just everything clicks at one time and they can hit the reset button and then say, all right, this is what we're capable of. Let's all get on track now.
Well, they do have opportunities ahead. This week they'll bring Texas A&M into the box. Now, the Aggies didn't play Game 3 against Texas. It got canceled because of weather, but they won the first 2 games in a really emotional setting there because of Schlossnagel's return to College Station. Luch, when you look at A&M taking 2 from Texas this weekend, the manner in which they did, what stood out most to you with what the Aggies were able to pull off?
They made an adjustment in their pitching rotation. They moved Aiden Sims up to the number 2 spot, and he did great. And sometimes that boosts a whole rotation and a lineup. The other thing is, when you come out in Game 2 and you score 8 runs right out of the gate, it's pretty easy to win that ball game. And yes, it was emotional. There was a circus atmosphere out there, but they held their composure and proved that this is one of the better offenses in the country, man. I mean, they are really, really good. And oftentimes we get hung up into thinking about the A&M team from last year. This is not that team. This is a team that can slug, They're led by Gavin Grahovac, who is a man-child as a sophomore. He missed most of last season with an injury. His freshman year, hit 23 home runs, and he's having a tremendous year. Caden Sorrell is leading the SEC in home runs. And then they've got some freshmen. Nico Partita is legit. From top to bottom, it's a tremendous lineup. The shaky part is the pitching staff, but they're going to score enough runs to cover them.
David Dellucci is with us, SEC Network. When I look at what LSU has ahead, they have A&M. They've also then got a road trip to Mississippi State, who all of a sudden, Luch, they just got swept at home by Tennessee. They've been swept in back-to-back home series. What's going on?
You know, the first series was against Georgia, and Georgia had a really good weekend. It's odd to have an opposing team come in there and feel as comfortable as both of those teams did in Duty Noble in front of that crowd. Tennessee was able just to put it all together, and they had some really good pitching performances. I just think State hit a road bump for a couple weekends in a row, and it just so happened to be at home. They're extremely talented. They're a veteran ball club. And still right now, they're number 2 in the SEC in batting average and number 3 in ERA. So if you look at what they've done during the course of the year, the talent is there. You just, during the course of the season, you have these weird hiccups that you can't figure out what happened. And unfortunately for them, it was at home. But that is a really good team led by a really good head coach. And I truly believe they'll get back on track.
The other big eye-opener was Alabama being swept at home by Arkansas. Luch, Arkansas had looked like they were scuffling, and all of a sudden, boom, they go on the road against a top 10 team and sweep. So make sense of this with what happened in Tuscaloosa this weekend.
Arkansas, just like A&M, they made some changes to their rotation. Hunter Dietz is one of the better pitchers in the conference. They're just moving guys around. They've depended heavily on their offense all year long because the pitching wasn't really up to what we typically remember Arkansas putting out on the field. And then the offense sputtered quite a bit. They just put it all together this weekend. T.J. Pompey hit a couple home runs. Ryder Helfrich has been the lone guy in the offense that has really been a good offensive producer. Now he's got some guys backing him up, and Nolan Souza was another guy that stepped up. So they can play. They just outplayed Alabama, who has been gritty all year long, and they met their match this weekend, and that's what happens in the SEC. It's been crazy with sweeps, man. A couple weeks ago, 7 of the 8, and this weekend, 4 sweeps?
4.
It's really weird.
LSU, of course, was one of those victims. The 4th was South Carolina sweeping Missouri. That's just 2 bad baseball teams, so I don't really need to spend a lot of time talking about that one. But you know, Luch, the other thing that was a little eye-opening was Florida going on the road and beating Georgia 2 out of 3. Because don't look now, but the Gators all of a sudden look like maybe they've found their stride. I doubt you're worried about Georgia. I think this is probably more Florida finding their way up the standings. What do you think about the Gators at this point?
Repeating what I've said twice already, they made an adjustment in their starting rotation. They moved Aiden King up to game 1 starter. Liam Peterson went to game 2. Aiden King had a tremendous game. He got some key hits behind him, and then it allowed Liam Peterson, I think, with that game 1 win to settle down, and he had the best start of the year. He went 7 innings. Unfortunately, in game 2, they have a major injury, Jackson Barberi, in their bullpen. They couldn't close that game down because they didn't have him available. Had they had him, they could have swept. Offense is extremely talented, very similar to LSU, where the roster just is full of talent. But now you're seeing what a good pitching rotation, and when you keep the games close and you have a decent offense, now you see how that can pull you through.
David Dellucci, SEC Network. Lucha, Rally Cap back?
Yeah, we had our opening night last night. It was outstanding, a lot going on. Just a fun show, man. So happy to be back in studio. Haley McClenny is my partner. No Dari Noka this week. We had Peter Burns came in and pinch hit, and he did a great job. So Rally Cap is back in full swing.
Y'all make sure you catch Rally Cap Sundays there on the SEC Network. Luch will be there, and he's with us on Mondays. We always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Be well. It's After Further Review. Brought to you by Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. Closed today. SupperClubBTR.com. That's a website to go get the reservation. Remember, they're closed Sunday, Monday. They'll be back open on Tuesday. And the thing I love to tell you about Supper Club all the time is no matter what you order, it's going to be the best version of that thing no matter what it is that you order. Like, if you love steak, like I do, they have amazing prime steaks. Like, you will go, I say it often, I mean, you can go to Supper Club and have these one-of-a-kind experiences. The Omi beef, the Australian Wagyu, things that you literally can't get anywhere else. And if you're in the mood for a prime steak, you're going to get the best prime filet ribeye that you'll have anywhere else. And you can go pay the same amount as you would at any other fine dining restaurant, but the experience is just unmatched at Supper Club. And maybe tomorrow, got some clients in town, want to close some business after work, pop on into Supper Club. Remember, you can always belly up to the bar, open seating at the bar, 14 bar stools, 7 bar tables. So it's always easy to go in without a reservation. But you want to have that unforgettable dining experience. Get to the website, book your reservation to celebrate whatever it may be. Birthday, anniversary, graduation, promotion, or just because it's the day that ends in Y. Get by Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com, SupperClubBTR.com, SupperClubBTR.com. All right, y'all, glad to have you hanging out with us here. Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. Not got a quick break. When we come back, Chris Marler will be here. Handful of teams had their spring games this weekend, so what do you need to know? He's our SEC writer over at LouisianaSports.net. We'll give you the skinny, and we'll announce our winner for our first of our 5 Marler Bud Light prize packs. Case Bud Light and the Bud Light LSU baseball jerseys, the koozies, some ESPN swag as well. You can check it all out on our socials if you want. It's the purple, gold, and cold giveaway. We're doing one a day every day this week leading up to the home series against Texas A&M. So we'll announce our first winner when we come back. If you want to enter, by the way, you enter once, you're good for any of the 5 days. You want to enter, just text Drink Easy, one word, Drink Easy, to our text line, 225-499-1045, 225-499-1045, 499-1045. Text Drink Easy to 499-1045 to automatically be entered. All right, we'll announce our first winner next. Stay far.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Speaking of winners, Gordon right now has his big sweepstakes going on right now for the laptop giveaway. Every year around high school graduation, Gordon is part of Gordon Gives, the philanthropic arm of the law firm. Every year, Gordon gives away laptops and MacBooks to graduating Louisiana high school seniors that are going to 2 or 4 year college or trade school. So if that's you or your son or your daughter or niece or nephew or granddaughter, grandson, or a neighbor, whoever it is in your life that you know is graduating, make sure they're aware of this. Go to gordonsgrads.com. So special website, gordonsgrads.com. They have links on all of Gordon's social media as well. It's at Get Gordon on all the social media platforms. Go to gordonsgrads.com. You can see how you can enter to win. The registrations go through the end of this month, through the end of April, so still plenty of time. But get online and enter today at gordonsgrads.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
All right, well, we picked our winner for the first Bud Light prize pack. However, the person texted without filling out the contact form for their name. Now, the good news is we have their number, so I can text this person back and be like, hey, what's your name? so I can get you your prize. And I'm not going to read this person's name on the air. That'd be really bad. But anyway, so we got our first winner. If I can get this person's name, he or she, it was this. Let me see if I can message this person. I'm going to do this real quick live. Hang on. No, I should do this in the break. I shouldn't bother you all with this. Let's see. Hey. Wait. You won. What's your name? All right. That person, if you're still listening, you just got a text from our text line saying you won. What's your name? Tell me your name, and we can get you your prize and all that good stuff. So we'll do that every day this week. So at the top of hour 3, every day this week, we'll announce a Bud Light prize pack winner. Case Bud Light, The aluminum bottles, the Bud Light LSU jersey, baseball jersey, which is really cool, by the way. There's pictures of them online. Some koozies and some ESPN swag and all kind of other stuff. All right, it's after further review. Spring football, a lot of spring games going on. Chris Marler, LouisianaSports.net, covers the SEC for us, locked in and tuned into a lot of this stuff. Good enough to join us. What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
Just doing a radio show.
Yeah, just texting strangers. It sounds good.
Trying to grow our text line so we can, send your silly articles at LouisianaSports.net to people to read. That's what I'm trying to do. So
I love it.
Don't insult my text line. Okay, so there were spring games this weekend. 3 this weekend: Florida, Tennessee, Bama. Were those the 3?
Yeah, you know what's crazy is there were 10 in the Power 4 overall this weekend, and none of them were on actual TV. This is like, you think about 10 years ago, it was usually like a pretty big spectacle in April. That every weekend you'd have a couple of people just kind of beating their chests and proud. Like Nebraska had 84,000 people to see this 4-8 team in the fall have a spring scrimmage, and like that's just no longer. But you had three SEC games this week. All of them seemed to go pretty well. I'm not sure how many more answers or how many questions were answered at Tennessee, but it seems like Florida and Alabama had rave reviews.
Well, let's start with Tennessee. Obviously, they got to replace their quarterback. So who's in the running there?
So you've got 2 freshman quarterbacks. One's a redshirt freshman, George McIntyre. And then you have Faison Brandon, the former 5-star. He's one of the top players in the country from a season ago. And they got the kid from Colorado, Ryan Staub. And what was funny is going into the game, you kind of assumed that you were hoping at least that you had someone pull away or kind of take control of that number 1 spot. Neither one of them seemed to at all. Very, very similar stat lines, seemed to be very, very similar in the game. Nothing crazy happened, nothing overly good, nothing overly bad. And again, 2 freshmen in a Heupel system, that's not always a bad thing. He has really, really good success with first-year quarterbacks throughout his time as a head coach and OC. But the kid they brought in from Colorado, who everyone thought was destined to be a third-stringer, he's the only one that had like a highlight reel or play worth remembering. It was a 73-yard touchdown. So the bigger news that came out of that was, not is it going to be a 2-person quarterback race, or are they going to have Staub push for playing time as well going into the fall?
It sounded like offensively it was a pretty bad day for Josh Heupel's squad. Is there anything that you sort of take away from that spring game?
I mean, I think that having 2 freshmen kind of be given like the reins of this thing, it just seemed like neither one was firmly or ready yet to be that guy. And like maybe that moment happens in fall camp. Maybe that moment happens in game 2 or 3 of the season, and the light just comes on and they all kind of put it together. If I was putting my money on it, I would have to assume I would probably give the nod to a guy like McIntyre, only because, and this is without seeing any of their practices in the spring or anything like that. I would just assume a guy that's already been on campus for a full year, he's been in the system for a year. That is also a system that gets thrown around and kind of perceived incorrectly a lot, because you remember the Hendon Hooker offenses that were throwing the ball deep all the time and so potent and electric and stuff like that. It's still an offense that's predicated off the run. So what it really said to me was, I don't know if the run game got going well enough for them to have any sort of success in the downfield passing game. And maybe Jim Knowles, the DC they got from Penn State, former guy from Ohio State, maybe he was worth the $3.2 million they gave him.
Let's go to Florida. There's a new head coach. There'll be a new quarterback, the whole 9 within that mix. It feels like there's a lot of good energy around John Sumrall. What were the big takeaways coming out of spring in Gainesville?
So I think the big story there was they might have had the best week they've had for Florida football in I don't know how many years. Maybe you could throw out the argument of like November of the one successful year or month for Billy Napier. But that's a program that, there's new life. There's a whole resurgence and like kind of a refreshed feeling around it with Summerall. The most important thing he did, and I said this I think in November or December on the site, and I got a lot of pushback from LSU fans, which was you could make the case that Florida won the hiring offseason, because not just when they got Summerall, because his first thing that he did was go out and get an elite offensive coordinator. Now, I think Charlie Weiss is also elite, but being able to pluck Buster Faulkner away from Tech and then bring him down to Florida. And that's an offensive coordinator who has aspirations of being a head coach. That's a really, really big thing for him to have him as like, on his team going into year one. Like hiring coordinators is probably like one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle for a coach to be successful that we don't talk enough about. And the other thing is, I'm not as concerned. I think they had a great day. I don't know what the final score was. There was some forward passing plays that didn't end up in interceptions, which is different than we saw when DJ Lagway was there. So that's positive. But the other thing is they were able to flip a top 30 recruit on Saturday from South Carolina, and they got a commit from a 5-star offensive guard from Ohio. So like all the positive energy and momentum they have going into the season, it does feel like there's a lot more good vibes down there.
Chris Marler's with us, LouisianaSports.net. I know you were gushing about a throw in a spring game from the Bama quarterback. So tell me why that's going to be awesome.
I tell you what, it's something you can skip the Heisman now for one. Keelan Russell, friend of the show, and I think no, not really. No, I've been saying this for 2 years. It just didn't make a lot of sense to have, like, I think there's going to be a QB battle in the competition. I get that. You brought Austin Mack with you from Washington, and this is only one game. But it's not like Keelan Russell is a good quarterback recruit, an Elite 11 kid, a 5-star. He's the highest ranked recruit in the history of Alabama's program. And that just, maybe it means nothing, but it feels like that level of pedigree coming out of high school and where he came from and being in the system already for a year, it seemed like that was it all kind of came to a head on Saturday in a positive way. I think he had 4 touchdowns. They got a freshman receiver, 5-star kid from Mississippi that was really, really good as well. The bigger question is, and it is just a spring game, so every time something good happens, it's a perfect game for people that are neurotic. It's like, well, that was good, but this is bad. So the defense obviously sucks, and the secondary is terrible, but the quarterback should be good. The bigger concern is he going to have to do all that on his own? Because they had the rushing yards stats after the game, and this will shock you, Matt. Bama didn't run the football very well again.
Yeah, I also remember watching a spring game where Stephen Rivers was awesome. So drawing conclusions from spring games is silly. I just don't – I just have trouble getting there with a first-time starting quarterback being awesome from jump, no matter where you are. Does it happen? Is there a Jameis 2013 at Florida State? Yeah, but there's a reason why that's the exception, not the rule.
Right.
And yeah, DJ Lagway, 5-star, that was awesome too, who you just made fun of, by the way. So 5 stars, it always works out.
Program
right?
changer.
Always works out.
Yeah, but he was the guy that was going to save the program. I remember being in the press box with Hunt during that LSU game, and he leaned over and he goes, "The savior of the program may have just cost this dude his job." And then that was before the 5th interception, and I was like, "Well, I don't know what's going to happen now."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think the bigger thing too is there's 6 teams in the SEC this year that go into this season that don't have a new quarterback that they have to break in, right? There's only 6 in the entire league that have a returning starter at quarterback from their school the year before. And it feels like those teams probably do have a little bit of a leg up because in this day and age where there's so much uncertainty and change in the offseason, at the most important position, you at least have some sort of continuity.
Yeah, because the national championship game this year was just between 2 teams with first-year starter transfer quarterbacks. So that's a good argument.
Will never happen again, ever.
Chris Marler, LouisianaSports.net. He's got some, I don't know what his Twitter is now because he's gotten like 4 of them taken away. So what is this one now that you're on? Vern
_Funquist.
Oh, Vern _Funquist. We've ditched Dumbquist, and now we're back to Funquist?
I think you're going to make me go back to Dumbquist after today, but yeah.
Why?
Fair.
Why would I do that?
I'm not getting into it on the air. Just,
that's right. Because of the meeting we had earlier. I wasn't even thinking about that. No, I wouldn't make you change your Twitter. You do what you want with your Twitter, and if it gets taken away, well, that's on you. Chris Marler, LouisianaSports.net. Go read his stuff there. Follow him on Twitter and all that stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, dude.
All right, man. We'll see you. It's after further review. We're brought to you by Arco Power Systems, ARCCO. Arco.com, Arco.com, Arco.com. Man, I love telling you about Arco. Amazing business, great people. Tell you ever have the opportunity, if you're a business owner, you have a commercial property, industrial facility, and you hear me talk about Arco, it's industrial generator power, right? We all know about home standby generators, right? You get a home standby generator. Well, this isn't that. Arco is a standby generator for your business. So same concept, just for your commercial or your industrial facility. Bad weather comes, power goes out. What does that mean for your business? Well, Arco makes sure that your business stays online. Grocery stores, gas stations, banks, hospitals, schools, any type of industrial facility, municipality, radio stations, broadcast facilities. You need standby generator power. You need Arco power systems. They're just awesome. And you realize you go right there on Airline Highway by I-12, this gigantic company that services the entire region. Literally, when storms come, the National Guard will come in and they'll like Black Hawk helicopter the Arco guys to different sites to get power back on. It's amazing the service they provide. But even not in disasters, when power goes out, you got to be online. Arco is there. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. So we just talked to Marler about 3 of the spree games from this weekend, and yes, everyone is just gushing over the kid from Alabama. It's the counter argument to what happened at LSU this weekend, where the quarterback play was very bad, the defense dominated. I just don't know that you draw wide-ranging conclusions from a spring practice or a spring game. But I do want to give you some thoughts, some deeper thoughts that I have about the LSU quarterback situation coming out of this weekend, and maybe a thought on what to watch over the next 7 or 6 practices for the remainder of spring. We'll do that as we continue. We're glad you're here. It's a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows.
After further review.
Rev is now Rev Fiber. RevFiber.com. RevFiber.com. Rev, R-E-V, Fiber.com. That's because the reason I switched to Rev is recently Rev came and laid fiber in our neighborhood. And so we immediately switched. I mean, think about it. We've all been there before, right? Storm comes, tree falls on a power line, knocks your cable, you're in and out, you're out for days, weeks, whatever. How annoying is that? Terribly annoying. You know who doesn't have to ever worry about that? Me. Because with Rev, the fiber is buried under the ground. So you don't have to worry about the storm coming and knocking power lines down or anything like that. And by the way, the Rev folks were awesome throughout that entire process. Not only how quickly they were able to lay fiber in our neighborhood, but switching to Rev, their staff, just awesome to work with. So RevFiber.com. Check it out. Home or business, RevFiber.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
All right, rolling along here. Jimmy will be here in about a dozen minutes from right now for Otter Locks. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Remember, Otter Locks, you can always get it for free at louisianasports.net. Tigers will be back on the practice field on Tuesday as they resume spring football. And Lane Kiffin has opened up practice for the remainder of spring. We kind of joked over the weekend that maybe he's opening up spring now so that we, the media, can go see and maybe help pump the brakes on the expectations. It's a joke. But I think Lane has a couple of times so far during his media availability pointed out the need for tempered expectations. He's been quick to point out, I'm not telling our fans years, but it's just you're remaking an offense and it's going to take time. And last week he said if we were playing a game right now, we'd be a defensive team. But he was quick to say, but we're not playing a game right now. I think my buddy Jake Crane on Twitter over the weekend had maybe the best tweet about reaction to the scrimmage from Saturday out at LSU, where his point was just the thing you never worry about ever is a Lane Kiffin offense. And I think that's right, because everywhere that Lane Kiffin has been, the offense has followed, and it has been seamless. And I am just never going to overreact to one spring practice. So I think no matter what, Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss, their offense is going to be really good. They're going to move the ball, and they're going to score points, and it's going to be good. Like, I don't think LSU is going to be 124th in the country in rushing offense again like they were this past year. I think they're going to be better than that because everywhere he's been, even with lesser talent, he's been able to do more offensively than that. So I think that's true. They're going to be better on offense in 2026 than they were in 2025 just by virtue of the fact that Kiffin and Weiss are there leading the offense. But being better on offense isn't the goal. Getting to the playoff and winning a championship is the goal. And I do believe that for LSU to achieve that goal, that Sam Leavitt is going to have to be healthy and is going to have to live up to the potential that he brings from a guy that started his career at Michigan State, went to Arizona State, and got the Sun Devils into the playoff. And I'll remind you, 2 years ago at Arizona State, they were picked preseason. They were picked dead last in the Big 12. Arizona State was. And they won the league, went to the playoff, and darn near upset Texas. So, it's in there for Leavitt. There's a reason he was the number one quarterback in the portal, and the reason LSU pursued him and paid him all the money that they did. And there's evidence to suggest that it can work with transfer quarterbacks immediately. Just talked about it. Fernando Mendoza was in his first year at Indiana. Won the Heisman, won the Natty. In the national championship game, they played against Miami, who had Carson Beck in his first season at Miami. Ole Miss made the semifinal. Trinidad Chambliss from Division II in his first year at Ole Miss. Got him there. And there's so many examples. You can just go down the list, right? So it's probably obvious to say it. Like Leavitt, yes, Sam Leavitt has to be really good for LSU to make the playoff and win a championship this year. But I also think based on what we saw on Saturday, I think those two guys, meaning Landon Clark and Husan Longstreet, have a very exciting and interesting skill set. And they're young guys who have the opportunity to grow. I also am not sure that I'm convinced that those are the types of guys right now that would be ready. And again, it's 9 practices in the spring to where I go, oh man, I saw the dynamic skill set that makes you think that's a guy that can lead you to a championship or lead you to and through a playoff. It's not to say that'll never happen. It's not to say that can't develop. I mean, Husan Longstreet was a 5-star. There's a reason that you're an Elite 11 guy. You have the skill set. And clearly, this coaching staff saw something in Landon Clark from Elon to say, we know what to do with that. I love that component of it. But again, just scoring points and gobbling up yards and winning some games isn't the goal. The goal is get to the playoff and win when you're there. And I think for this team to do it, it's got to be, stating the obvious, but it's got to be Sam Leavitt. He's got to be what you brought him here to be. So getting him healthy and ready to run this offense from jump, because you go Clemson, Louisiana Tech, at Ole Miss. I mean, it's your first 3 games. You stumble out the gate in November, you could leave yourself no margin for error the rest of the way. So they got to be ready to roll from jump. And they got a long way to go offensively to feel like that. Again, like Kiffin said, the good news is they're not playing a game right now. They're not playing a game for 8 months. So they got a long way to go to get guys healthy and ready and churning in this offense. But they got work to do. I'm excited to get back out there tomorrow. And they're not going to be scrimmaging like we saw in Tiger Stadium on Saturday, but they're going to do team period. So we're going to get to see some 11-on-11 work, and maybe it'll be situational work. And I'm interested to see what that looks like and how they divvy up the reps. Because to this point in spring, all we've gotten to see is that one sort of quick team period and then individual work. So we were trying to extrapolate certain things from just watching, one quick team period. And now we get a bigger sample size so we could tell you more of what we see. So be back out there tomorrow as LSU on Tuesday will be practicing Tuesday morning. As soon as practice is over and then Lane Kiffin meets with reporters, we'll get you a practice report at LouisianaSports.net. I'll give you practice reports over at Locked on LSU as well. Would appreciate a sub on either your podcast app or YouTube, Locked on LSU. Appreciate that. Of course, we'll be talking about it here on AFR as well. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. I always love telling you about Evermore. Have my Evermore with me every single day. I buy the 4 packs of 64-ounce bottles. Fine. They got 32-ounce and 20-ounce bottles as well. 6-pack, 12-pack. Go find what's best for you at your favorite local retailer. They got it at Rouse's. They got it at so many great local retailers. You want to find the retailer near you, just go to evermore.com, EVAMOR, evermore.com. You hit the little menu tab. It says, find a store. Type in your zip code, and then, boom, it's right there. It'll tell you the nearest store, or the store nearest you that has Evermore, or you can buy it online. There's a tab, a little button on the top right that says buy now. Just click that button and buy your Evermore. So you can be like me and millions of other people that drink natural artesian water, better source, natural source, healthier alternative. It's Evermore. EVAMOR, evermore.com. All right, been a really good show. If you missed it, we did spend the first 2 segments of the show giving you my full scrimmage recap and notes from Saturday. I did offense, then defense, special teams. So we took 2 segments to go through all that. We did talk about the LSU baseball team being swept at Ole Miss and sort of what's ahead for the Tigers here in the second half of conference play. I know a lot of people are throwing dirt on them and burying the season. We've seen it too much. I believe this team has fatal flaws that are going to cost them mid-season. I don't think they're going to make a run in Omaha. I don't believe that's in the cards. I do believe this team can absolutely still make a regional. That's not the goal here, but I want them to play for as long as they can. And you're halfway through conference play. You're at this point 3 games better than you were 2 years ago when you were 3-12 at the halfway point, and you made regionals. So it is very doable for this team to make it to a regional, even if it's on the road and play into June. But Jay Johnson and his squad have work to do, and they need to get Cooper Moore back healthy. So hopefully we'll get an update from Jay Johnson on Moore's status. David Dellucci was here earlier this hour. We talked to Chris Marler about some of the spring games that happened this weekend. They are really, I'll tell you this much, seeing the excitement out of Tuscaloosa. So if you missed it, there was this, I don't even know what account it was. Somebody posted a video of Keelan Russell throwing a seam route. And Marler tweeted that that he's old enough to remember when people thought that Bama was just signing a 3-star SMU commit. So he's basically taking a shot at me. And I haven't replied, but I have earmarked and bookmarked that tweet because I am going to love when they inevitably lose 4 games again, throwing that in their face and laughing at them because they drew wide-ranging conclusions from one throw in a spring game, which is just the stupidest thing you could possibly do in football. Already getting some Bama is burning stuff planned for next year. Really looking forward to that again. It's going to be the biggest disappointment when they inevitably fire Kalen DeBose after he loses 4 or 5 games again this year, is that when they fire him, do I have to stop doing Bama is burning? That's going to be the really sad day for me. Do I lose one of the greatest bits we've ever had in the show? Time will tell. All right, it's after further review. Final break. We're brought to you by Relief Windows. Jimmy will be here for Auto Locks next.
AFR.
This weekend for so many people was the debut of pool season. It was the inaugural swim of pool season for a lot of folks. Duplessis Pools. If you want to be in that number where when the sweltering heat comes, the triple-digit temps, and you just jump outside and hop in your pool, grab you an ice-cold beverage and cool off, enjoy your outdoor space instead of just sweating, put in a pool. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. They've got pools. They've got outdoor kitchens. They got so many options. You even do your putting green out there. So many options to make your backyard space a showplace. Start at DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. They have 11 different pool designs where you can go pick all your finishes. You can even finance it, pay for it online right now. DuplessisBuilders.net. Check them out right now online. DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
All right, down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Otter, what up?
What's up, Matthew? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well. How'd your Masters bets fare?
Not so great.
Sorry.
Not so great.
Sorry to hear that.
So anyway, I did a little bit of recovery on Rory in game from day one, but no, not the best. Not the best. So, and it was a lot of they just don't bet repeat champion. Oberga had a lot of action. Justin Rose had a lot of action, and he certainly had a chance to win it. But Scheffler not too much, and Rory not too much. I thought it was funny that you can play the markets without Scheffler because he's been so dominant. And then after 2 rounds, it was markets without Rory because everybody else looks like it was a race for second. And who wins the market without Rory is Scheffler.
Yeah.
So there you go. So anyway, it was a lot. It was way more exciting on Saturday when we thought it was over going into that one. But a lot of guys in place. We thought it was a lot of guys lost it more than Rory won it. So still good stuff. Anyway, not the late dramatics. Paul Skeens has given up his second home run of the year. This is to C.J. Abrams, 2-out solo home run in the first. We had them and the Dodgers in a money line parlay. So we get a better price now. Mowed down the first 2 guys, but the second guy got him. They took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. Pirates tied for first place right now, giving him way more run support this year with that improved lineup. Going with Boston and Garrett Crochet at the on the road here. Now, we're laying 1.5 runs because the price is too high. Against Minnesota, struggling pitcher in Bradley Ober this year. So we got the Boston Red Sox -1.5 plus 109. And then the A's tonight, money line, Severino against Evaldi. Severino been so-so this year. Evaldi, way below so-so to this point. Had been good, but A's coming off a sweep of the Mets in Citi Field. We'll go with the A's plus 109.
All right, so the Red Sox on the money line, the A's on the money line.
Red Sox run line.
Red Sox run line. A's on the money line and Dodgers Pirates money line parlay. Again, you're actually getting a better number on that right now with the Pirates early deficit. All right, Otter, where are you tomorrow?
We are at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City.
All right, man. Thanks. Good luck. Have a great show tomorrow.
All right, good luck.
Thanks, man. That's Jimmy Ott. It's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Remember, if you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. You can book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. No, keep that going. Golf.breck.org. You can through to the end of the show. Little vibe to get us home there, Jordan. Yeah. You all right?
Yeah, no, we good. We good.
You can talk. It's okay. The audience can't see you nod your head.
Right. I forgot it's a radio show. They hear my voice. They cannot see me shaking my head at you.
There it is, man. Did good today, Jordan.
I appreciate that.
Appreciate you for hanging out in here. I think Muse is back tomorrow.
You better be.
Well, you don't like coming in?
Nah, man. Moose need to come up. Look, Moose was out Friday and Monday. Come on, Moose. Get back to work. Where you at?
I saw Musso post a photo on social of his crawfish pot. He's boiling crawfish.
Of course he is.
And he's got a paddle. I need to ask him about this tomorrow.
Okay.
His paddle says it's like a metal crawfish paddle with Musso engraved in it.
Real?
Yeah.
I didn't know Musso was getting down like that.
Me either.
Okay.
But I'm kind of like, all right, big guy. If that's how you roll,
yeah,
where you got your own paddle with your name on it, then I think what we need to do is we need to have Station Crawfish Boil.
Thank you.
And we let Muse do the honors.
Thank you.
I'll pay for everybody. But Muse has to boil them.
He does. He needs to boil it. And not only that, we need to have like a taste test where we're going to be very authentic. Like, hey, Moose, my nose is not dripping, okay? Need a little bit more spice.
But you think I'm going to lie? You think I'm going to lie?
You're definitely not going to lie to Moose. Definitely not, no.
You think I'm going to bite my tongue?
Not even close, honestly.
No, Muse, they're great. Really. Great
not
job.
Close, nah.
Paul, are you in for the Musso Crawfish Boil?
Let's do it.
All right. We have a company crawfish boil on Thursday.
I'll be there.
Yeah, they do the company crawfish. I've done this for years, I guarantee. They do the company crawfish boil during AFR. So I never get to go to, like, 16 years and never get to go to the crawfish bowl because they do it during my show. And they do it right in the parking lot of this building.
What they do?
So it's almost like they do it just to mock me. Do you have the outro music there? You should have played that already. Yep. There you go. Now take down the other one. Finish strong. There it is. All right, we're done. Hit the button.
AFR.
All right, we get on down the road. Remind you about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You say that? Thank you, Joy. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Hey, if you're thinking of popping the question, tell you every day, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They've been helping Louisianians get engaged for 4 decades. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Over at Lee Michaels, they specialize in the Lee Michaels experience. It's not just a throwaway line. It's actually a genuinely real thing when you walk in. They want you to feel comfortable knowing people don't walk into a jewelry store every day. They never want you to feel like you're pressured to buy. You want to walk in and try on 100 different rings, look at everything, and not buy something today? Okay. And no matter your budget, there's always something for you. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com. It's lmfj.com.